Welcome back to the range. Let's have a frank conversation about the state of the union. We are living through a time where the dollar just does not stretch like it used to. Between the price of gas, groceries, and rent, a lot of folks are looking at their bank accounts and thinking that a brand new sidearm is out of reach. But here is the reality of the world we live in. The safety of your family is not a luxury item. It is a non-negotiable necessity. For a long time, the term budget gun was code for junk. It meant rough machining, jams, and a finish that would rust if you looked at it wrong. That era is over. Modern manufacturing has tightened up, and the market is flooding with high-quality steel and polymer that actually works. I have drawn a hard line in the sand at the $300 mark. I have run thousands of rounds of ball ammo and defensive hollow points through these platforms to see what holds up. Whether you are looking for a tackle box gun or a primary defensive tool, here are the top 10 handguns under $300 that you can trust. Number 10. Ruger Wrangler. Kicking this off at number 10, we are looking at a piece of hardware that is less about tactical operations and more about the spirit of the American frontier. This is the Ruger Wrangler. In a world drowning in black plastic, Ruger decided to give us a single-action rimfire that channels the soul of the 1870s. This is the spiritual successor to the Colt single-action Army, but built on a budget that makes sense for the modern working man. Because it is single-action, you have to manually cock that hammer back for every trigger pull. It forces you to slow down. It forces you to focus on your front sight post and your breathing. The Wrangler is built on a high-grade aluminum alloy frame, coated in a Cerakote finish that is far more weather-resistant than the old-school bluing. It runs the .22 long rifle cartridge, which means you can spend an entire afternoon ringing steel for the price of a fast food lunch. With a 4.62-inch barrel, it balances perfectly in the hand. Plus, the transfer bar safety mechanism means you can carry all 6 chambers loaded without worrying about an accidental discharge if you drop it. Now, loading and unloading through that gate is a slow process. This is not a high-speed defensive weapon, but for learning trigger control, teaching a new shooter, or just enjoying the mechanical art of shooting, it is unbeatable. You can usually find these tagged between $190 and $230. That is impulse buy territory for a gun that will outlast you. Number 9. Tisas PX9 Gen 3. Moving to number 9, we have a striker-fired 9mm that is shaking up the duty pistol market. This is the Tisas PX9 Gen 3. Coming to us from Turkey, this pistol is clearly taking notes from the heavy hitters like the SIG P320 and the Springfield XD series. But Tisas did not just clone them. They refined the package. You are getting a hammer-forged barrel and a CNC machined slide that is optics ready right out of the box. That means you can slap a red dot sight on here without paying a gunsmith a dime. It feeds from 18-round magazines, giving you serious firepower. The grip is fully modular, shipping with interchangeable side panels and back straps, allowing for 27 different grip configurations. That is the kind of customization you usually see on pistols costing $600 or more. The slide features a tough nitride finish to fight off corrosion, and the trigger has a short reset that allows for rapid follow-up shots. You need to be aware that finding a holster at your local shop might be tough compared to finding one for a Glock, and the brand is still earning its stripes here in the States. But with a price tag hovering between $250 and $290, grabbing an optics-ready duty gun with this much capacity is a no-brainer. Number 8. KelTec P17. At number 8, we have a lightweight contender that proves you do not need heavy steel to have serious utility. This is the KelTec P17. KelTec designed this to be a high-capacity trainer rather than a heavy target pistol. Fully loaded, this thing weighs less than a pound. It comes standard with a fiber optic front sight, adjustable rear sights, and a threaded barrel adapter. That means it is ready for a suppressor right out of the packaging for some quiet backyard sessions. The headline feature here is the capacity. It packs 16 rounds of .22 long rifle into a flush-fit magazine. That is a lot of lead for a rimfire of this size. It allows you to drill your sight alignment and recoil management without burning through your expensive 9mm stockpile. It is the ultimate backpack gun. Now, it is a KelTec, so it has a clamshell polymer design held together by screws, which can feel a bit like a toy to some shooters. And like Most rimfires, it might be finicky with cheap bulk ammo until you break it in with a few hundred rounds. But with an MSRP of just $199, getting a 16-round suppressor-ready semi-auto for under $2 is unmatched value. Number 7. SAR B6. Sliding in at number 7, we are going back to Turkey for a weapon with serious military pedigree. This is the SAR B6. This is built by SAR Silmaz, a massive aerospace manufacturer that arms the Turkish military. The B6 is effectively a polymer-framed clone of the legendary CZ-75. The CZ design is famous because the slide rides inside the frame rails rather than outside. This lowers the bore axis, bringing the recoil impulse straight back into your arm rather than flipping the muzzle up. It makes for an incredibly flat-shooting gun. This is a traditional double-action, single-action hammer-fired pistol. Your first trigger pull is long and heavy, acting as a safety, while every shot after that is short and crisp. It uses forged barrels and steel magazines holding up to 17 rounds of 9mm. It feels like a battle tank in the hand. The trade-offs? The sights are basic white dots and are hard to replace due to the slide cut. And finding spare magazines can sometimes be a hunt, but you can pick up the B6, or its compact brother, the B6C, for around $250 to $290. That is NATO spec quality for pawnshop prices. Number 6. Ruger LCP II. At number 6, we have the evolution of the gun that started the modern pocket carry craze, the Ruger LCP II. The original LCP was popular, but let's be honest, the trigger was terrible and the sights were invisible. Ruger listened to the market and overhauled the design with the LCP II. This is a dedicated deep concealment tool, weighing just over 10 ounces. It disappears in a pocket holster or on an ankle rig. Chambered in 380 ACP, it holds 6 rounds. The massive upgrade here is the single-action style trigger. It breaks clean and crisp, which is a huge help when you are trying to be accurate with such a tiny firearm. The grip texture is aggressive, locking into your hand to help manage the snap, and the sights are actual distinct points that you can pick up under stress. Make no mistake, physics still applies here. It is a small, lightweight gun shooting a defensive caliber, so it is going to be snappy. It is not a range toy for all day. Plinking. It is a get-off-me gun. But priced between $260 and $290, it is the gold standard for a pistol you can carry when you can't carry a gun. Number 5. Bersa Thunder 380. Number 5 brings us some South American flair with a classic design. The Bersa Thunder 380. Made in Argentina, this pistol is a direct nod to the Walther PPK carried by James Bond. But you don't need a spy's budget to own one. This platform has a cult following because it offers an all-metal frame in a market dominated by plastic. The aluminum alloy frame gives it enough weight to soak up the recoil of the 380 ACP cartridge, making it incredibly soft shooting. It utilizes a fixed barrel design, which inherently aids in mechanical accuracy. This is a double-action, single-action system with a slide-mounted decocker. That allows you to safely lower the hammer on a live chamber. The rubber grips wrap around the backstrap, making it one of the most comfortable pistols to hold on this entire list. It is old-school tech, so it is heavier than modern micro-compacts, and that slide-mounted safety can be tricky to reach if you have smaller hands. But for a street price hovering around $280 to $300, you are getting a classy, reliable, metal-framed handgun that feels like it costs double that amount. Number 4. CZ P10M. At number 4, we have what might be the highest quality engineering on this list. The CZ P10M. CZ is a Czech company known for making some of the best combat pistols on the planet. The M stands for micro. This is a single-stack 9mm designed specifically for deep concealment. CZ stripped every external lever off the side of this gun. There is no slide-stop lever or takedown lever protruding from the frame. It is completely smooth to prevent snagging on your shirt or holster during a draw. It holds 7 rounds of 9mm, putting it in the same weight class as the Glock-43. You are getting a cold hammer-forged barrel that will maintain accuracy for tens of thousands of rounds. The trigger is a bit heavier than the standard P10 series, which is intentional for a defensive carry gun with no manual safety. While the 7-round capacity is lower than some of the newer double-stack micros, the build quality is undeniable. We have seen prices on these plummet recently, with brand new units moving for $299. To get genuine CZ steel and engineering for under $300 is an absolute steal. Number 3. Stoeger STR9. Breaking into the top 3, we have a workhorse that shares DNA with one of the oldest names in firearms. The Stoeger STR9. Stoeger is owned by the Beretta Holding Group. Yes, the same Beretta that armed the U.S. military for 30 years. They took that manufacturing expertise and applied it to a budget-friendly striker-fired pistol. The STR9 is sized right alongside a Glock-19. It features a rugged nitride slide and interchangeable backstraps to fit your hand size, something you rarely see at this price point. The trigger on this gun is shocking. It is crisp, clean, and frankly better than the factory trigger on many $500 guns. It ships with steel 3-dot sights and a 15-round steel magazine. It is a no-nonsense defensive tool. The aftermarket is a bit thin on holsters compared to the big boys, and spare mags can be a little pricey, but you can consistently find the base model STR9 between $250 and $290. It is robust, reliable, and backed by the Beretta family. Number 2, Taurus G3C. Number 2 is a redemption story, the Taurus G3C. A decade ago, I might have hesitated to recommend a Taurus, but the company underwent a massive overhaul in quality control, and the G-Series is the proof. The G3C is one of the best-selling handguns in America for a reason. It hits the perfect sweet spot for size, holding 12 rounds of 9mm in a package that is easy to conceal but big enough to fight with. It comes with 3 magazines in the box. That is unheard of value. It also uses Glock-compatible sight cuts, so you have access to the largest aftermarket of sights in the world. But the killer feature here is the restrike capability. If you pull the trigger and the round does not go off, you can simply pull the trigger again to strike the primer a second time. In a high-stress self-defense situation, that can be a lifesaver. The trigger has a long take-up, which some shooters take time to get used to, and the finish is utilitarian. But for a street price between $260 and $290, the G3C is the definition of high value. Number 1. Palmetto State Armory Dagger Compact. And taking the top spot, the undisputed king of the budget market, the Palmetto State Armory Dagger Compact. PSA had a mission: to arm as many law-abiding Americans as possible. To do that, they took the patent-expired design of the Gen 3 Glock-19, the most proven handgun in history, and they improved it. The Dagger Compact is compatible with almost all Gen 3 Glock-19 parts, magazines, and holsters. You have the entire world of aftermarket support at your fingertips. But they fixed the ergonomics. The Dagger has a better grip angle, superior texturing, and distinct cuts on the frame to help you strip a magazine if it gets stuck. It comes standard with steel sights, not the cheap plastic ones you get from the competition. You are getting a modular, reliable, duty-capable 9mm for half the cost of the big-name brands. The trigger feels like a standard striker fire, a bit spongy, but it breaks consistently. It ships in a cardboard box with 1 mag to save cost. But who cares? The gun runs. You can find the Dagger Compact on sale frequently for $299, sometimes even dipping to $260. For that price, getting a platform this proven and versatile is simply the best deal on the market today. Period. There you have it. 10 firearms that prove you do not need to take out a second mortgage to defend your life. From the cowboy plinker to the modern duty weapon, you have options. But remember, the gun is just a tool. It is a paperweight without the software to run it. Take the money you saved by buying one of these budget options and pour it into training ammo and a good concealed carry class. A $300 gun in the hands of a trained shooter beats a $3,000 custom pistol in the hands of a novice every single day. If you enjoyed this list, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss our next review, and drop a comment below telling me what you carry. Stay sharp.